everyone, we are Team 4 and our project is Pay-as-you-go solar system for rural Nepal. Nepal, as a developing country, is going through rapid development. Meanwhile, the development of the power plants and transmission lines in the country cannot keep up with its economic development. Many Nepalese are not connected to the grid. Additionally, for those who can, the electricity supply is extremely irregular. In 2016, there were days where power was cut for 14 hours in a day. We believe that our pay-as-you-go off-grid solar technology can empower the rural population through supplying them with affordable and reliable clean energy. In this presentation, we will present you the audiences with the reasons behind our confidence in this project. Before we get too deep in our product, we want to first better understand our market in Nepal, and this is why we completed a pesto analysis, and here's the summary of our findings. In terms of political factors, the main barriers to invest in Nepal's energy sector is actually very non-technical. The energy market is often overlooked due to its relatively small size and is caused by the chronic underinvestment in power sector due to the poor Nepal's public sector financial performances. Political and economical issues has been happening over the past decades and has negatively affected the nation's improvement on not just power and electricity, but also other infrastructures such as communications, transportation, and social services. With the significant solar potential in Nepal, the NEA, which is the Nepalese Electricity Authority and is the monopoly of the industry, only invested 0.1 megawatt power based on stats in 2012. The NEA still has been focusing on its reliability issue in the electricity transmission and generation instead of its coverage, and mainly in the hydro sector. Yet, with all of its power and effort, the Nepalese still suffers from blackouts. About 10% of the overall sales revenue was lost due to electricity outage in 2013 alone, let alone that there are still many regions in rural Nepal that has not even been covered by the grid yet. This is why we think our off-the-grid system can help. Now moving on to the next factor, the economical factor. One of the reasons why we wanted to focus on the rural area in Nepal is due to the existence of its poverty gap. Over the years, the gap between the rich and the poor is getting improved, but not fast enough. So shockingly, 88.3% of the poor lives in the rural regions in Nepal. Even though the market was perceived as small to many investors, like previously mentioned, some of the economic stats we've seen made us feel a lot more confident in our choice in Nepal. First of all, when you see the graph on the top, we have a steady GDP growth in Nepal over the years, and the small dip you're seeing is actually from the earthquake in 2015. Aside from that, the growth has been very steady. Same goes with its competitive index. And more importantly, we have seen a steady growth of the energy demand. As shown on the graph on the bottom, the Asian Development Bank has forecasted even more significant growth in the future, and that's beyond linear. Some social factors that is relevant to our business. First of all, Nepal is a multicultural nation with over 100 ethnicities and around 100 languages. Actually, only less than 50% of the people in Nepal speaks its official language. This can potentially create some barriers for us in the future and will be discussed in the later part of this presentation. Furthermore, Nepal has limited exposure to Western product, and this factor is even more significant in the rural region that we're focusing on.
Several technologies are closely related to the industry of pay-as-you-go solar systems. Firstly, the employment of a pay-as-you-go solar system always requires network coverage, so that the GSM modem inside it can track real-time operational data and control the solar device. Secondly, batteries are the most important part of solar systems. Therefore, reliable batteries using new lithium technologies are highly recommended for the solar systems. In addition, the use of quality assured technologies that can meet the suggested standards by Lightning Global are advised at all times. Fortunately, in Nepal, 90% of the population is covered by mobile networks. With this availability, two popular payment methods can be applied. One is mobile money and the other is prepaid scratch cards. Lastly, technologies that can lower the overall cost of the pay-as-you-go solar systems without lowering the quality can have a large impact on the industry. In Nepal, a subsidy will be provided by government to companies selling pay-as-you-go solar systems. Specifically, every solar system sold that has a power larger than 10 watt peak can receive a subsidy of $50 or more. Several regulations need to be carefully reviewed for starting a business in Nepal. For example, employment and job security in Nepal and the regulation of trade and restrictions. Last but not least, there are some competitors existed in Nepal. Therefore, the copyright of the product and the trademark must be well protected before entering the market. Several environmental factors suggest the arising opportunities for pay-as-you-go solar systems in Nepal. Firstly, Nepal is a country that receives ample solar radiation. The average varies from 3.6 to 6.2 kilowatt-hour per square meter per day, with approximately 300 days of sun a year. Secondly, most of the territories in Nepal are hilly or mountainous, and extending the grid over this difficult terrain is very expensive. Finally, winter might be the favorable season for the use of pay-as-you-go solar systems because most of the hydropower power plants stop working due to the snow-fed rivers. And these are all for the pestle analysis. Next, I'm going to introduce a case study, Ensel in Nepal. The case study introduces some key challenges for pay-as-you-go solar systems in Nepal. According to the case, there are no large solar systems in wonders in Nepal, and the adoption of pay-as-you-go solar systems is slow. The main reason is that the subsidy policy did not work very well. The subsidy was provided directly to the vendor, so the consumer pays only about $25 for small systems with 2 lights and a mobile charger. The problem is that this can provide a perverse incentive to vendors to supply low-quality systems because the amount of the subsidy is linked to installed capacity, not actual generation. The other key challenge is that existing mobile money platforms in Nepal still have a large gap from maturity, making less payment options available. Overall, the case concludes that a favorable change in the subsidy policy, like focus on encouraging finance, could unlock the market. The study concludes the following success factors for pay-as-you-go solar systems in Nepal. Firstly, the entire supply chain as well as the buyers should be able to access to finance. Secondly, the selected distributing districts should have low competitions from the grid. Thirdly, districts that have high usage of carbon-based fuels are more favorable because the displacement of new devices is easy. Fourthly, the area should have medium population density with availability of product and service and market hubs. Finally, there should be easy payment points available in the selected area. Based on these factors, 3 priority districts for mobile-enabled pay-as-you-go were identified in Nepal, which are Rohtak, Saptri, and Salai.
Okay, I'm now going to talk about the solar home system that will be used to implement the proposed pay-as-you-go model. However, before I can talk about the product itself, I need to briefly identify the customer segments that we identified. The first being sustenance income customers, those who rely on candles or small kerosene burners. The second segment is low-income customers who generally rely on kerosene burners and maybe a few small battery-powered appliances. And the third category is average income consumers who generally have access to some sort of small fuel-intensive generator and, again, some kerosene burners. So we believe that the two categories that will benefit the most from a pay-as-you-go solar system are the low and average income consumers. Now onto the product itself. The product that we're proposing is a medium-scale solar home system similar to those provided by African pay-as-you-go companies like Mobisol. The system we're proposing will be rated for about 40 watts of power and can be used to power small lighting systems as well as some small household appliances. The actual physical product includes the PV module, a payment hub with monitoring hardware, wiring, some lighting that is compatible with the system, and then a lithium-ion battery. The hardware integrated within the payment hub is used to control the usage of the device. This is something I'll touch on a little bit later. And this product would generally need to be installed by trained technicians. So we will need to put in place a network of technicians who can work to install these small systems. Generally, we are aiming to provide affordable and consistent energy supply to energy-poor citizens of rural Nepal. However, in our research, we discovered that there is insufficient mobile money infrastructure within Nepal to utilize mobile money at this point within our product. So we are reliant on methods which other pay-as-you-go companies have used with success in the past. One of these is the integration of accounts from existing financial or microcredit institutions. This is a feasible possibility because up to 40% of people in Nepal have access to bank accounts or formal or informal financial services. For those who do not have access to bank accounts, we are proposing the use of energy credits. These credits can be purchased from point-of-contact salespeople who operate within a local region. They purchase these individual energy credits, which are essentially scratch-off cards, and getting these cards gives the consumer a unique code that is used to unlock the solar device. The code will be entered in through a handheld keypad, and inputting this code essentially unlocks the device for energy use. And this is a structure that many pay-as-you-go solar companies use for their off-network hardware. We performed a SWOT analysis on the proposed product to examine some of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats associated with our proposed model. In regard to the product's strengths, medium-scale solar home systems are generally quite robust and require a limited level of maintenance. Hence, there's a lower maintenance cost that is then passed on to the consumers. This is beneficial for them. Solar energy is, on a whole, generally enjoys strong public support within Nepal and is perceived as being safe, environmentally friendly, and reliable. From the perspective of the end consumer, again, the product is quite low cost. The cost of installation may be slightly higher than some other alternatives, but the actual dollar per kilowatt hour is quite low compared to other energy sources. And one of the most attractive aspects or strengths of this model is the payment flexibility it offers customers. There's structures which traditional financing methods can't achieve, and generally the usage-based pricing that pay-as-you-go models utilize is attractive as it more closely matches the variability in income and expenditure that a lot of these people in rural Nepal face. Lastly, this particular product model is quite attractive for gaining external financing because of the structure. It tends to reduce the risk of the business, and also the proliferation of mobile phones and network coverage across regions of Nepal means that there could be a time where we could integrate mobile money into this product. Regarding the potential weaknesses of this product, one thing that may be prohibitive is the relatively high capital cost of solar installation for solar home scale products. It may require the use of some subsidies or potential amortization of the payments over a period of several months or years. Another potential weakness is that the model we're proposing will be very dependent on external supply chains and overseas markets, as Nepal does not have a strong manufacturing industry for a lot of the electric and solar components within this proposed device. One additional limitation could be that the system generally has a useful life of 2 to 3 years, and if there's additional wear and tear in the off-grid markets that the batteries or system faces, it could put a large burden on the technical and customer support that we have to provide. Lastly, one of the most significant resource drains is going to be in developing the proprietary point of contact salesperson network. We don't have a well-established relationship with potential customers or vendors, and we're going to need to expend significant resources to train up these authorized sales agents, ensure that agents are performing their duties as instructed, and offer them any resources they need to complete their jobs.
Now we will discuss the opportunities associated with our business model. Around the world, there are about 1.5 billion people, mainly in rural areas, that still lack access to electricity, and even more only have spotty power. As a result, there are many potential customers for our business model, even outside of Nepal. Additionally, there has been an increased amount of awareness of our technology throughout the international community, and as a result, it is much easier to get funding. Lastly, there is an opportunity to integrate and leverage mobile money with our business model. Next, I will talk about the threats associated with our business model. First off, the company bears the entirety of the risk. There are no local institutions in Nepal to provide stimulus in case there is not enough cash flow. Additionally, competition can arise on a local and international scale between our company and other pay-as-you-go companies. Next, language barriers in Nepal can be a serious issue when it comes to educating consumers on proper maintenance and use. Lastly, there are social barriers since we are a foreign business. We need to present ourselves as a trustworthy business to the locals in order to properly integrate our technology in their community.
At this point of the presentation, we have a better understanding to our product, and we want to focus on the impact that our product can make or our business can make. We are all familiar with the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. The obvious primary impact is to provide affordable and clean energy to support the escalating demand of energy in Nepal. But the impact doesn't stop there. Immediately as a result of the energy supply, households and small-scale businesses that utilize the pay-as-you-go lighting system can see an improvement in productivity by being able to do chores and businesses at night with the increased illumination. This increase in productivity can in turn contribute to Nepal's GDP growth in the future. The electricity also enables the use of many technologies, which can help to improve the standard of living of rural Nepal communities through closing the widening gap of information access between the rural regions and the urban regions in Nepal. With the newfound access to electricity, there is so much more untapped potentials these households can reach. For example, the potential to provide quality education for kids, supporting local transportation developments, supporting small business establishments, and also enable the use of new innovative technologies. All of these make our product impactful and important to those communities.
Now that you have a better understanding of our technology and proposed business, I will now reiterate some of the key points presented. So what is our proposal? Our proposal is a pay-as-you-go solar energy service in Nepal. What is the benefit? The benefit is that the rural people in Nepal living in poverty will have access to affordable energy. In addition to those points, there are no major providers of pay-as-you-go in rural Nepal, so our technology will be quite revolutionary for the people of Nepal. We will provide sustained, continued access to energy, and we hope to achieve similar success as businesses in sub-Saharan Africa and India. We will now take any questions regarding our presentation. Thank you.